And as a brahmachari in those days, every day he would go out to beg for food. And he had a little cloth bag that he kept hanging from his shoulder. And he would go house to house, 10, 12 houses minimum every day, and beg. And for any of you who have ever done begging like this, how many have? People don't give you the best thing in their house. They give you the cheapest thing in the house. And in Bengal in those days, the cheapest things were the broken pieces of rice in the bottom of the barrel. So people would just throw a small handful of broken rice in his bag, and he would be grateful. He'd be thinking of Krishna, chanting Krishna's names throughout the whole day. Then he would get home, and with love and devotion, he would cook those broken old pieces of rice after washing it and offer it to Krishna. That's how he lived his life. So one day when Lord Chaitanya, who was in the mood of a devotee, sometimes just to please his devotees, he would take the mood of Krishna and accept the worship of his devotees. And he was sitting on a throne. He was sitting on the altar, not a throne. He was sitting on the altar, offering benedictions to all of his devotees, and everyone was chanting in kirtan for his pleasure. And in the back of the room, Lord Chaitanya happened to see this little poor brahmachari, Suklambar, just had a tattered set of clothes, and he was dancing ecstatically, chanting the holy name, and that little cloth bag with his handfuls of begged rice was swaying to and fro on his shoulder as he was dancing and dancing and dancing. He was so happy. Lord Chaitanya was just enjoying seeing his bliss. Just taking the name of God. The Lord called Suklambar, come, come. Suklambar came close. The kirtan continued. He was dancing and smiling, and Lord Chaitanya was just laughing, seeing this. And suddenly, Chaitanya was eating handful after handful. And he was saying, I have never, ever tasted anything so sweet, so delicious as the rice in the bag of Suklambar. And Suklambar said, my Lord, please, this is not fit for you. And Lord Chaitanya said, birth after birth you have been a beggar, and I have been stealing your rice. He said, you do not remember, but I remember in your past birth you were Sudama Vipra, living near Dwarka. And at that time you were in so much poverty, you were practically starving, and your wife, feeling sorry for you, sent her to me, who was living in a palace in Dwarka, asking for some favor, for you wouldn't starve, so you wouldn't suffer so much. And you said, Sudama Vipra said to his good wife that if I go to see Krishna, I have to offer him a gift, but we don't have it. They literally had nothing in their house. So she went out and begged and got some chipped rice. And he didn't have a proper bag for it. He just tied it in a little piece of cloth, old cloth. And he went to see Krishna in Dwarka. This poor Brahmin went through all these magnificent gates, and when he arrived, Krishna put him on his own bed. And Krishna washed Sudama's feet. Krishna worshipped him to show the world how the Lord worships those who love him. And then after they spent the day and talked about how they were old friends in school, Sudama was thinking, I can't offer Krishna this old, begged, chipped rice. So he didn't say anything. But Krishna knows everything. He's in the heart of every living being. He said to Sudama, did you bring me anything? And Sudama said, no, I didn't bring you anything. And then Krishna grabbed the bag from Sudama's little dhoti And he said, "No, my Lord, you cannot eat this. This is not fit for you." And he came to where his house was, he thought. And instead of that old straw hut, there was a beautiful palace. And he was thinking, maybe I got lost. Where am I? And then out from the palace came his wife, wearing beautiful clothes. And there were all kinds of other people. And there was lovely trees and lakes, nothing like the jungle he lived in. And his wife looked at him and cried because she knew Krishna's kindness upon us. And he cried. And when they looked at each other, all they could do was cry. Now, as husband and wife, they really had a deep, loving relationship. They cried. He cried to see how Krishna was so kind to his wife, and she cried to see how Krishna was so kind to him. Neither of them wanted anything for themselves. And so beautiful. They lived the rest of their lives in that luxury. But they had the exact same mentality as they did when they were in poverty. What is that mentality? They had no envy, they had no selfishness. Whatever they had, they used in the service of God and for the service of other living beings. Being poor is not a disqualification. Being wealthy is not a disqualification. Whether one is a king or living in a cave in the mountains, we all have equal opportunity. Because Krishna accepts our love, our devotion. And I'll end today's class with one more story. Should I end now or one more? Okay. This is a story of another leaf, and fruit, and flower, and water. This person offered all of them. His name was Kolavecha Sridhar. When Lord Chaitanya was a young boy, he disguised himself as an ordinary boy. Nobody knew that he was actually the avatar of Krishna. He was the Supreme Lord. Although he attracted people's love as he was God, he disguised the reality by the Yogamaya potency. So little Nimai Pandit, he would every day go to a simple banana leaf seller named Sridhar. Sridhar was really materially poor. He just sat on the ground, on the side of the road, and what would he sell? Banana leaves. And if he had any bananas, he would sell the bananas. And if there were any flowers from the bananas, he had a few banana trees, and he would just, any part of the tree that grew, he would sell it. He would sell the bark, the flowers, the leaves, the fruit, the roots. Just had a couple things at a time. And he was so honest. He was so compassionate to all living beings that he would utilize his intelligence to somehow or other charge as little as possible and get by. Because he didn't want to cause anyone inconvenience. And then with whatever little he made, he would first thing is take half of his profits, which was hardly anything, and use it to worship Mother Ganga, the Ganges, by taking that water of the Ganges and offering it to Krishna. He would offer pujas to Ganges and then take that water and offer it as a love to Krishna. So little Nimai would come to him. How much is these bananas? How much is this leaf? And he would give him a fair price. Nimai would say, I will give you half. Why you're trying to cheat me? Sridhar said, it's a fair price. If you don't like my price, go somewhere else. Nimai would say, no, I know a good supplier when I find one. I will never go anywhere else. I will give you half. And then they would argue over the price, because half means Sridhar would take a tremendous loss. And for him, 1 paisa loss was practically everything he had. And after arguing, sometimes for 2 hours, Nimai would just take the bananas and said, all right, I'm not giving you anything, I'm just taking. And he'd walk away. And Sridhar would smile. He just took his whole inventory. He had nothing left. The Lord just took it away, gave him nothing. But the Lord loved Sridhar so much, he would come every day. And Kulavechra Sridhar loved Nimai so much. When it was time for Nimai to be coming, Sridhar, actually all day, he'd be sitting on the side of the road, his heart pounding with anticipation for little Nimai to come to steal his bananas. Just to see that form, he didn't know he was God, but he loved him like God. And he couldn't understand why. Hearing that sweet voice of Nimai arguing with him, that was his life, his soul, his everything. And if Nimai was late, Sridhar, his heart was going through ecstasies of separation. One day, Nimai said to Kulavechra Sridhar, why do you worship Krishna? What is he doing for you? Look at how poor you are. There are all kinds of atheists and worshippers of demigods, materialistic people. Look, they have nice homes, they have good food, they have nice clothes. Look at you! Your house. It's not a house. It's a straw hut. And I know what goes on in your life. The straw hut, the roof leaks, and in the monsoon seasons, everything's wet. You have to sometimes sit with a little umbrella. You have and there's no furniture, nothing. All you have in your whole house is one old dented iron pot to carry water. And as far as your clothes, there's so many holes in your clothes, and you can't afford needle and thread, so you just take the 2 sides of the holes and tie knots. I see at least 20 knots in your clothes. And as far as your food, what do you eat? You're emaciated. You're undernourished. And yet you're always chanting Krishna's names. You're always worshiping Krishna. What is he doing for you? Kulavechra Sridhar he loved Krishna so much, he would chant Krishna's names all night long, and sometimes he just couldn't contain himself. He would chant very loudly, and the neighbors, he would wake them up, and they would get really angry. They would scream at him, Sridhar, shut up! Sometimes they'd even get more angry, and they'd just take an old rotten vegetable and they'd throw it at Sridhar's head and say, just eat this and be quiet. He must be crying out like this because he's so hungry. It's hunger pains. So just eat this and go to sleep. But Sridhar didn't care. praise, blame. Samsiddhir haritoshanam. For him, his only satisfaction was pleasing the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was saying like this to Sridhar. And Sridhar, he replied. He said, I've been in this world a long time, and I have observed, and I want to tell you my observation. Whether one is a king, living in a palace, with magnificent clothes, and eating fine foods, or whether one is a bird who just wears one set of feathers and lives in a little nest made out of grass, just eating some, little berries here and there. I don't see much difference between the two. Somehow or other, they both have what they need, and time is passing for both of them in the same way. And they're both essentially just trying to do the same thing. Trying to be happy. And as far as I could see, they're both, God's supplying for both of them. What's the difference? I'm happy. I'm happy chanting God's names. I'm happy with what I have. I don't need anything else. And then Nimai said, Sridhar, you are a cheater. Huh? Sridhar said, what cheater? He said, you are cheating everyone. You are making yourself look like a poor beggar to get people's sympathy, but actually you have a great treasure. You have immense wealth, but you're hiding it all just to deceive us. Sridhar said, what do you mean? Whatever you see is what I am and what I have. He said, someday I will expose you. And then the Lord stole some bananas and walked away. Now, interestingly, every single day when Sachimata cooked lunch for Lord Chaitanya, Lord would only eat it on the plate, on the banana leaf plates that were given to him by Kolavecha Sridhar. A leaf. Yes? He would rather have that than golden plates or silver plates, just a little banana leaf. For him, everything that was put on that plate tasted like nectar because it was served on the banana leaves of Sridhar. Because they were offered with love. We know the story when Lord Chaitanya performed that great Harinam Sankirtan procession to the Chand Kazi's house, where he literally had millions of people following him, dancing and chanting Krishna's holy names in ecstatic love. And the Chand Kazi, who hated Hindus and was and who outlawed their practice, actually his heart completely changed. And he became a great devotee. After that historical procession and that great victory, Lord Chaitanya took a few of his devotees to Kolavecha Sridhar's house. That wasn't on the way. That was completely out of the way. Why did he go there? I'm going to back up a couple years, and then I'm going to come back to what happened there. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was at Srivasangam, he took the form of God and was offering any benediction to any of his devotees. To Murari Gupta, who was a devotee of Ram, Lord Chaitanya manifested his form of Lord Ram and revealed that Murari Gupta, in your past life, you were Hanuman. To Haridas Thakur, he manifested his opulent form of Krishna. And he told the devotees, bring Sridhar. Now, the devotees didn't even know who Sridhar was. They said, who's this Sridhar? He said, he lives in the outskirts of town. He said, it's the middle of the night, so he'll be chanting. Just go to the outskirts, and when you hear his chanting, you'll know who he is. Just follow that sound. So they brought him. And the Lord manifested his form of Krishna and Balaram and manifested Vrindavan before the eyes of Sridhar. And he said to Sridhar, ask for any benediction, anything. Sridhar said, my Lord, I am seeing you. I don't want anything else. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, but I want to give you something. Ask for anything. I will give you an entire kingdom with a beautiful palace. No long for you to live in your abject poverty anymore. Sridhar said, no, I don't want any kingdom or palace. He said, well, then I'll give you the 8 mystic cities. What yogis perform tapasya for many lifetimes to achieve, I will give you all these mystical powers. Sridhar said, that will just be a distraction for me if I have powers. I'm a simple person. I don't want powers. He said, then I'll give you liberation, mukti. No more suffering ever again. Sridhar said, I don't want mukti. Don't tempt me with these things. Then I'll give you elevation to the spiritual world, Vaikuntham, eternal life of bliss and knowledge. Take it. Sridhar said, my Lord, I don't want that either. Lord Chaitanya said, well, I know you don't want it, but I want to give you something. For my sake, ask for something. Please, ask. Sridhar said, if it pleases you, then you can give me this one benediction. In every birth I take, let me always in my heart of hearts remember that little form of Nimai, and always come to me. This is all I want, all I ask. In that beautiful little form of Nimai, always come to steal my bananas. Let me be absorbed in always meditating on that form, nothing else. When he said that, the devotees began to cry. Lord Chaitanya began to cry. He said, I grant you the highest ecstasies of pure love forever. Now, how is this? Sukamba Brahmachari, Kalavetra Sridhar, the Lord would just take from them. Now, usually, when you offer something to God, you're supposed to chant mantra, tantra, yantra, puja, mudra. Yes? And if you do it all nicely with good devotion, then the Lord will accept it. But Suklambar Brahmachari and Kalavetra Sridhar, they didn't do any mantra, tantra, yantra, mudra, or puja. The Lord stole it from them. Because the Lord is hungry for the love of his devotee. From Chankazi's house, Lord Chaitanya took a few of his devotees to Sridhar's house. And outside the house was that old, dented, iron water pot. that Sridhar, it's all he had. He used it for every type of purpose. He used it to wash, he used it to drink from, he used it to clean. And he had already drunk water from that pot, little pot. And Lord Chaitanya saw that pot and went into ecstasy. He walked right to the pot and everyone was watching and Sridhar was there watching. What's he doing? And he picked up that pot. As everyone was gazing upon the Lord in suspense, what is this? And then the Lord put the pot to his lips. And Sridhar cried out, "No, my Lord, I drank from that water. That's a dirty old pot." According to the scripture, even the most desperate thief in all of Bengal wouldn't even cast his eyes on that pot. It was so old and useless. But in front of everyone, Mahaprabhu drank the water from the pot. He drank it more and more and more. And Kulavacha Sridhar fell to the ground and said, "Now I am finished." He's drinking the water that I've washed myself with and drank from. And Lord Chaitanya was in ecstasy. He began to cry. He began to chant. He began to dance. He said, "Today, for the first time in my life, I have tasted the sweet nectar of Krishna's love because I have drank the water of Kulavacha Sridhar's pot." The Lord wanted to show the world. Offer a leaf. He ate every day on Sridhar's banana leaves. A fruit. He would steal his bananas every day. A flower. Lord Chaitanya, one of his most favorite preparations is he would steal the banana flowers from Sridhar and have Sachima to make it into banana flower sabji. It's written about in the scriptures. And on this day, the water. But interesting, Krishna says, if you offer me a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it if it's with devotion. But Sridhar wasn't even offering it. Suklambar didn't even offer it. Sudama Vipra didn't offer. The Lord is literally hungry for the love of his devotees. Now, great sages are considered to be Atmarama. That means they're beyond hunger and beyond thirst, and they're transcendental to all of these material emotions. Krishna's name, and one of his names in Bhagavad Gita is Yogeshwara. Means the master of all mystic yogis. Krishna's not in need of anything. But he's Rasa Bihari. By his own will, he loves the loving exchanges of his devotees. So Krishna becomes hungry for the love of his devotee. Little Gopal, when Mother Yashoda, with her motherly love, when milk would begin to drip from her breast, Krishna would wake up in the morning early and he'd run to his mother, feed me, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. He was hungry for her motherly love. This is Ras. This is the ecstatic exchange between Krishna and his devotees. The devotees are longing to serve Krishna, and Krishna is longing for the love of his devotees. That is love in the spiritual platform. So simple. We also read about great kings like Ambarish, He had a fantastic temple in his palace. And the best of everything he'd offer to Krishna. And Krishna accepted in great ecstasy. Ambarish's royal offerings and Kulavechar Sridhar's simple banana leaves. Queen Kunti prayed, Janmaishwarya Shruti Shibir Edamanabata Pudam Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. That Krishna is the property of the impoverished. But this doesn't mean physically impoverished. When you believe nothing is mine, everything belongs to God. Whether you're a multi-billionaire or whether you're just a simple brahmachari living in the ashram. When we recognize everything belongs to God, let me serve. That's what Kunti's talking about. Not claiming false proprietorship, that I'm the controller and the enjoyer. But when you have that mood of a humble servant, Krishna becomes the property of that consciousness. So today, this festival is in honor of this principle. Yes, today we have, sitting among us, I'm seeing, we have multi-millionaires who are CEOs, chairmen of the boards of international corporations, tens and thousands of shareholders, massive companies and factories stretching blocks, city blocks, and many such things, traveling all over the world. And we have PhD scholars, former heads of Department of Science for largest university in Bombay. We have lawyers. We have magnificent intellectuals who can chant beautiful slokas and speak in such a way that just penetrates the heart and convinces the intelligence. And we have engineers who have mastered the art of manipulating material energy. And we have principals of schools. And we also have simple people who work for the railways, farmers who during the drought suffer like anything, not suffer, but they don't know, just hoping a little rain would come so they could grow some peanuts. We have middle-class people and very financially poor people. We have brahmacharis, monks, who have nothing to their name. And I see today we have Indians from Maharashtra and Gujarat and Tamil Nadu and Kerala and Uttar Pradesh and Bihar and Orissa and Madhya Pradesh, Himalayas. We even have some people from Bengal. And there's also Europeans from Germany, from America, from Australia, from Ukraine, from Russia, from Africa. We have men, women, old, young. And amazingly, all different castes, people from all different religious backgrounds, people who were born Jewish and Christian and Muslim and Hindu and Buddhist, everyone, it's all right here in this room. And everyone's just sitting together, plucking petals from the flowers. And every single petal that you're plucking is going to be offered to Krishna. And when there's tens and thousands, millions of petals showering on Krishna, it is the combined love and devotion of all of us. And that is Sankirtan. Krishna likes that the best. When devotees cooperate together to make beautiful offerings of combined cooperative love and devotion to Him. So yes, every single petal that you're plucking can liberate you from all birth and death, from all sufferings, and can elevate you to the highest liberation if you just do it with that feeling of devotion and humility. And every flower that everybody else is plucking, that's part of your offering. You see, when the shower of flowers go on the deities, none of you are going to be able to say, that petal I plucked. You're not going to be able to see the difference, and that's good. It's oneness. We are all going to become one in our love for the pleasure of the Lord. We are plucking out our sinful propensities with each petal and awakening our love. And it is in this mood of combined cooperative devotion, when we chant together, it has the most purifying effect for the whole world and is most pleasing to God. This is Sankirtan. So let us offer these beautiful petals and together chant the holy name. 10 million times louder, please. $50 million times louder. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much.